Clear the lens, it's the right angle. See the truth, let it shine through. Mind on point, no haze, no blur. Right angle's the key, make the world stir. Cut the noise, keep your vision tight. Wisdom's the guide, yeah, it's feeling right from the heart to the stars. See the bigger plan, right angle's the vibe, now you understand.
Hello everyone, welcome to The Right Angle, where we cut through the noise and get to the heart of what's happening. I'm your host, Mr. Smith, and today we're diving into a serious issue, the deployment of National Guard troops to Washington, D.C. Announced by President Trump on August 11, 2025, alongside a federal takeover of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. The administration says it's about law and order, but is it really about safety, or are we watching the militarization of our capital? Let's break it down. Why is the National Guard in D.C.? So what's going on? On August 11th, President Trump sent National Guard troops into D.C., claiming the city is a crime-ridden hellscape that needs federal intervention. The plan also includes temporary federal takeover of D.C.'s police force. Now, at first glance, you might think, okay, crime's a problem, so bring in more boots to help. But there's a catch. The National Guard isn't trained for policing. These are soldiers trained for combat or emergencies like hurricanes, not for patrolling neighborhoods or making arrests. Why does this matter? Well, soldiers are taught to neutralize threats in high stakes environments, not to de escalate a heated argument or make sure that an arrest holds up in court. Picture this: a group of teens are hanging out at the Navy Yard. A cop who knows the area might recognize them as locals and move on. A guard troop, fresh from the military training, might see a potential threat and escalate things fast. That's where the danger lies. Misjudgment that can turn minor situations into major conflicts. And here's something unique about DC: it's not a state. So the president has direct control over DC's National Guard. No governor, no local checks, just the White House calling the shots. Mayor Muriel Bowser and the DC Council have been sidelined, and that's got locals worried. Plus, the data doesn't back up a crime emergency narrative. FBI stats show DC's violent crime is down 35% since 2023, hitting a 30-year low. So why military show of force? The bigger problem of militarized policing. Let's zoom out. This isn't just about the National Guard. It's part of a bigger trend towards militarizing police. What do I mean by that? It's when law enforcement starts looking and acting like the military. Think armored vehicles, SWAT teams on steroids, or in this case, federal control backed by troops. The federal takeover of DC's police is a huge step in that direction, and there's talk of expanding this to cities like Los Angeles, New York, or Baltimore. Why this is a problem? Militarized police changes the vibe in the community. When you see troops, cops in military gear patrolling your street, it feels like you're living in a war zone, not a neighborhood. That's especially true in places like Anacostia, where trust in authorities is already shaky. Community leaders like Darius Baxter from Good Projects are sounding the alarm, saying that this approach alienates people, especially young folks who need support, not suspicion. There's also a legal gray area. The Posse Comitatus Act of 1878 says federal troops can't act as domestic police, but the DC National Guard slips through a loophole. Because they're under presidential control and operate under Title 32, they can take on law enforcement roles. The Justice Department backed this up, but it's never been fully tested in court. People are calling this a power grab or even a trial run for martial law. And when you hear Trump's talk about liberating DC or targeting other cities, it's hard to dismiss these concerns outright. What this means for DC and beyond. So, what's the impact on DC's residents? Imagine living in a neighborhood where federal agents or guard troops who don't know your community are stopping people or making arrests. That's what's worrying locals. DC's police, for all their flaws, have built relationships through community policing. Outsiders don't have that context, and that can lead to mistakes, sometimes deadly ones. Kids, in particular, are at risk of being in the caught in crossfire, facing aggressive stops that erode trust. There's a better way to handle crime. DC's police force is 800 officers short, so why not focus on hiring and training local cops? Federal funding could help, like how the Army revamped its recruiting, or invest in prevention, youth programs, mental health support, job training. These get to the root of crime, unlike troops who just treat the symptoms. And if federal buildings need protecting, fine. Use targeted security, not citywide military patrols. Here's the big picture. DC could be a test case. If this works, we might see more cities lose control over their police forces. It's a slippery slope towards normalizing military style policing, and that's a threat to local democracy and civil liberties. DC residents are already pushing back, with leaders like Attorney General Brian Schwab calling for transparency. Other cities should pay attention. That's it from the Right Angle podcast. The National Guard in DC and the push to normalize militarized policing raise big questions about safety, freedom, and who controls our streets. What do you think? Is it about stopping crime, or is it a step too far? Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next episode.
Clear the lens, it's the right angle. See the truth, let it shine through. Mind on point, no haze, no blur. Right angle's the key, make the world stir. Cut the noise, keep your vision tight. Wisdom's the guide, yeah, it's feeling right from the heart to the stars. See the bigger plan, right angle's the vibe, now you understand.